Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's edition of Myco Bytes. I'm Josh Talker, the Global Feed Mill Specialist. I'm going to be talking to you about the importance of sampling in a feed mill when testing for mycotoxins. So why is a sampling plan so important? Well, 85% of errors in mycotoxin analysis is a result of poor sampling. A lot of people that are taking samples in a feed mill don't have a good understanding of why a quality sample is so important. Therefore, they cut corners, and as a result, we get an inaccurate test result. And also, mycotoxins are very, very small. If you can think of 1 million kernels of corn, one of those kernels would equal 1 ppm of mycotoxin. So, very small, very hard to pick them out in a load. And also distribution is sporadic in a load or a silo, as you can see there on the figure on the right. Generally speaking, there's no mycotoxins detected in that silo, but in the corner there in the bottom left, you can see a very high number, and there's also a very high number in the middle of this silo. So the first step is to have proper sampling tools. You can see on the left, a lot of mills use these hand probes. They're inexpensive, and they're very good tools, very accurate tools. Some mills have very nice vacuum truck probes that vacuum the sample straight into their mill office or their mill quality lab or wherever the finished sample is desired to be. And then there's a method called stream cutting that we'll go over later in the presentation. And to adequately do this, you need a type of stream cutter. A lot of people you'll see people with like a coffee cup that take a sample by stream cutting, and that's not really an adequate way of stream cutting. You need a device like you can see that hand is holding that is deep enough to grab a sample throughout the entire stream instead of just one little section of the stream. So I'm just going to go over a couple of sampling procedures real quick that I feel like are most relevant to feed mills. The first one being a static load sample. The biggest problem I see with a static load sampling at a feed mill is employees don't have great access to take these samples. A lot of times, safety procedures or OSHA requirements will not allow them to get up on a truck to adequately take a sample. So if you're going to be serious about your sampling procedures, either A, get a automatic probe, vacuum probe like we saw in the previous slide, or give your employees an adequate way of taking a sample, whether that be some type of a platform they could walk on, or a safety harness to be able to climb up on the mill or on the grain trucks. So we need to understand how we're going to probe these static loads. We recommend taking a minimum of 10 probes per load, and you can see this figure on the right gives you an explanation of exactly where to probe on different types of containers. So we're going to move on to flowing grain, or another name for it is stream cutting. It's a very, very efficient way of taking a sample. It's very effective. It's very accurate if done properly. It's also very easy to cut corners with flowing grain or stream cutting. All an employee has to do is stick their bucket underneath the stream, and it's filled up, and they have way more than enough sample to get by. And there's not really any way of knowing that they've not done the proper procedures. So as similar to the static load cut, you want to take at least 10 subsamples, and we're going to cut those samples evenly throughout the entire load. So there is a timing factor when stream cutting. You want to start your first sample at the beginning of the load and try to time it so your last one is near the end. So after this, we have proper sampling storage, and this is something that a lot of mills lack at doing properly. You can see on the left is a picture I took of a mill that had great sampling storage practices. They had a numbering system. Everything's very organized. What's important with sample storage is keep your samples from getting moisture in them. Keep them in a place where they cannot spill. a place where they're very easily accessible. If you do all these types of things, you will not lose the integrity of your sample by improper storage. Then there's sample preparation. Some mills have to worry about sample preparation, some mills do not. But to properly prep a sample, we recommend doing some type of a sample quartering to reduce the size of your sample. Generally, for a mycotoxin test, you don't need 10 pound or a couple pounds of sample. You just need a few grams. So you simply you can see the figure on the left is a hand way of doing quartering. Simply quarter the sample with a ruler or something flat like that, and pull the two opposite ends, and then mix the two remaining ends together, and repeat this until you have the proper weight for conducting the test. Or you can buy a sample splitter like the one on the right. It's very easy. You simply pour the sample into the top of the hopper there, and it filters down to those bottom ports and splits the sample evenly. Downfall of those types of sample splitters is they're fairly expensive, well in excess of $1,000 US. So with that, you guys have a great rest of your day, and if you have any questions, please reach out.